Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Can y'all hear me okay? Oh, yeah, there it goes. All right. Morning, Chris, Corey, Tyler, Mary, Trader Joe, Shreve, Danny. How are y'all doing? Let's see what today has in store for us. Morning. Morning, Benton. All right, let's see here. We had some big news today, this morning. The core retail sales. Looks like we have some small impact news at 10 a.m. I wouldn't imagine it do much to the market. Then we have a Fed member speaking at 11. So we should be good to go. Looking at, let's see here. We still have this opening range gap from yesterday that didn't fill. It may want to come into it today, so we'll see. Gonna leave a fib on there. Then we have today's opening range gap, much smaller, right? So it right here, 374 opened up at 495. That's still about 120 points. So if that's the case, we may not see it come down, but we might. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and leave that fib there. Let's go back. A lot of fibs. Let's see. Actually, I need to get rid of that. That's too much. Too much going on for me. Let's go back to here. Mark out opening range gap. Low. You see, we're still kind of bouncing on this one here. I do want to leave this fib. Get rid of these. All right. See, we're closing up. We've already traded through the halfway point of today's today's opening range gap. So I'm looking at on the 15-minute chart. We have these fair value gaps, right? Here, and then if we keep going down, we're gonna have this little one. And then, of course, we have that big one from yesterday, which is here, that opening range gap. Let me bring out this one just to have some areas where we're drawing down to. And let's see. Traded well there. All right, let me go to my 5-minute. Here is a little late on marking out my stuff here today. Here's going to be our London low, London high. So we're still pretty much in that zone there. Just ran out London low, hitting that halfway point. after 9 a.m., see, we went into this 5-minute fair value gap here. We have this area of smoothness up here that we didn't trade into. So if I'm just looking at the 5-minute here, this delivered pretty well. Then we ran up. This, I'd be looking at this as a buy side liquidity area. Then we had this area of smoothness. Price delivered well up here. Took these highs. Kind of dropping after 9 a.m. Let's see, where's our 9 a.m.? Here's our 9 a.m. Now we just made these relatively equal lows here. Traded up. And then I believe we had some higher time frame. Yeah, fair value gaps here on the 1 hour. So this is kind of an area that I'm watching to see, because I don't have much of a reason to go up further. So if you watch, so I don't know if y'all watched any of ICT's 2025 mentorship. Here's the 1 minute. But he mentions on opening range gaps that are more than 100 and let's see, we had the close here, more than 120 points, that it's likely that it'll continue in that direction that it opened. So if I was looking at that today, we had 374, we opened up here at 94. So that's 120 points. So we'll see if that happens. If it just wants to come pull back into this 15-minute fair value gap and go up, or if we are going to try to come back down and, rebalance that gap from yesterday. Because right now, if I'm looking at the higher time frames, the daily is still here. Let me get rid of this. Or let me change that. The daily is still in this daily fair value gap here that I mentioned yesterday. So it could be just running up into this order block and then getting ready to drop. Or so today, what's going to be key for me today in the I guess the longer term is this right here. If we close up today, or if we close above this high, which is let's see, 143.75. If we close above 143.75, we're gonna have a fair value gap, a bullish fair value gap here, right? So it's gonna be interesting to see if today we're gonna do an immediate rebalance of this, or if we are gonna leave a fair value gap here. Because if we do, then my bias will turn neutral because I'm still short biased, right? Overall, if we get this, my bias will turn neutral. So, and then if I look at this 1 hour, it's going to be interesting to see what we do here. Because see, this delivered pretty nicely over here and dropped. So I'm be curious if we're going to leave this bit of sell side liquidity here and then go up. It looks pretty clean to me though. So yeah, I don't have a real good bias yet because I can see it going either way at the moment. Went right into this 15-minute. I do like this buy side liquidity up here, but we'll see. Now, if we do come back up and take these highs, this is where on him explaining opening range gaps, he talks about you're able to, if it's 120 points or more, you're able to draw deviations from that opening range gap. Basically the same way I did yesterday, but from the opening range gap, from the low to the high, and then you have deviations up from there. And that'd be the area up here. There's that buy side liquidity. So we'll see which way we decide to go. Because I'm kind of neutral at the moment. How about y'all? What do y'all feel like? Y'all think we're going bearish or bullish today? Or for the morning session? Man, I am starving this morning. A little yogurt here. Bullish? We got Chris thinks it's bullish for the morning. What about who else? Anybody have any opinion on that? I'm leaning a little more towards bullish, but kind of neutral at the moment. Sorry, y'all. I'm mixing up my yogurt. Dr. Purple, I'm lost sitting out until I see a signal. Hey, nothing wrong with that. I'm at the moment needing the market to kind of present itself a little more as well. Chris says, I see a lot of reasons to be bearish, but I think it's bullish. Corey agrees with Chris. Trader Joe's bullish initially, expecting it to start to the downside sometime today or tomorrow. Yeah. I'm Mary's bullish as well. I'm like I said, I'm a little neutral. I could see both ways. Overall, I'm still bearish for the day because of the daily chart. Like, not talking about the morning session. The morning session, if I had to pick right now, I'd be a little more bullish as well, just because of, what am I on the 5-minute chart? Because of this area up here. This is kind of a little more obvious, but we did trade nicely here. So if we take, here's my take right now on this. If we take these 15-minute fair value gaps here, then I'd be bearish. If we don't, then I'd be bullish to go up here to take these highs. These areas of smoothness. Let's go down to 1 minute. I haven't really been watching the 1 minute today. Where's the open? Here's the open. Here's 932. So that's our first presented fair value gap here. Here's 930, 931, 932. First presented fair value gap right there. Now, what we may end up having happen is if we don't see anything in this morning, like 950 macro or whatever, then I would wait for the 10 a.m. after 10 a.m. silver bullet to present itself. Kind of engineering liquidity on the 15-minute. Let's go to the 15-minute, see what's going on here. Yeah, I do like this isn't really close for me, but there very well could be some buy side liquidity right up here, kind of equal highs. See how this made the lower low. So this delivered well here. It went up. So we could see a trade down to this low. I'm going to mark this as sell side liquidity here, because we could see it trade down here and then come up and take these highs. The only thing I'm still looking at is that daily chart. We're still inside this daily fair value gap, where if we're going to remain bullish on the daily fair value gap, we need to trade all the way down to that. What did I call it? Right here. Uh, 143.75, which would make sense because this is the middle of that opening range gap from yesterday. So I'm going to mark this high so we can watch it for the day, or so I can watch it for the day. Daily immediate rebalance level. That's what I'm going to call this. I'm going to lock it because I want to see how that is today. Oh, Ben, yeah, you're talking about here. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It looked like we created after 9 a.m. These right here, 9:30, relatively equal lows here. But since we created those, I wanted to see if we were going to trade up first and then come back for them. But it looks like we engineered that sell side liquidity and we're just taking it now. So I could see. So another thing, because I have this low and this is where I marked that I believe it delivered pretty well down here. And it'll probably take this low. What I would want to wait for is see if it takes that low. And if it takes that low, do we get a sweep of it and a trade back up, or do we continue down? Honestly, if we take this low, I believe we're going to trade down to my daily immediate rebalance level there that I just marked. Which, by the way, yesterday, that when I left and I said that level right here, 183.25, let's see if we trade down to it. It did not make it there, obviously. It didn't make it there yesterday, but we did trade up at some point it just delayed. It took so long. I was watching it in the afternoon. It never got down to there, but then it finally late in the day traded up to that very close to that -1 deviation. So, and then it finally did overnight, or actually this morning. Yeah, overnight, 2 a.m. Finally traded up there. And so now it can continue down. Yeah, I think we're going to head down all the way down to that area. Because I am bearish overall. So, and since we closed that opening range gap for today, right here, and it was 120 points, we closed it. I believe we could continue on down. Might not happen for this, the morning session. It may take all day, but I think we continue down for the day. We shall see. So we have some new day opening gaps right here that we just hit as well for today. Let me flip over to that chart. New day opening gap right there. Just traded right down to them. So I'm going to measure out this leg here. This fair value gap right here would be in the premium of this leg. Let's see. We have looking here, we have this high, low, higher high, low. This could be a breaker here. I want to see what happens in this area. No, that didn't make a lower low. This swing needed to make a lower low. So we'd have a high, low. Yeah, that's not a breaker. Never mind. However, I do want to watch these. Because we may trade up into this area here and then continue dropping. So it's hitting the bottom of this potential order block. I'm looking at these 3 bars as a potential order block here. And here's the midpoint right here. Hey, Max, happy Thursday. We have a little fair value gap right here. So I want to see how that reacts. I really wouldn't look at this as a solid, busy, bullish fair value gap. So this is not, yeah, see, immediate rebalance of that. Traded right down to the wick. Right there, immediate rebalance. So if we get this inversion, I hate when everything moves like that. And then if we get a fair value gap here, which it technically did not invert it yet, but watching. But I do like that it inverted this because I think if we get up into this area, we may see a drop from there. Just got to be patient at this moment. Like I said, also, we have some low impact news at 10 o'clock, so we'll see what that does. And this would be something that if we do get up in here, it wouldn't be an immediate trade for me. I'd have to see the reaction of price. That's if we do. But we may just do a little bit of accumulation here and then another distribution. See, we technically haven't inverted this one. We did an immediate rebalance, but we haven't inverted it just yet. But then also we don't have a fair value gap out of it either. But we are accumulating inside this inversion here. Man, my eyes are all fuzzy. I guess it still hasn't really inverted it completely. What I want to see is what happens in here. If we hit the middle, if it respects this as an order block, and if it holds this fair value gap here. If I see some resistance in this area, I may consider shorting. Yeah, the blue light filter glasses. They've actually been helping me a lot. All right, here we go. We might get some displacement here. Let's see. Little fair value gap potentially if this doesn't get immediately rebalanced. Oh yeah, Ben, they're great. All right, 30 seconds before that low impact news comes out. A little messy chart here today. All right, 10 a.m. There's that low impact news rocketing us right through that sell side that I marked there. So I want to see if we're going to sweep and then try to come up and take. It's delivered pretty well, to be honest. I don't know that we go up. I really don't know that we go up. I don't think we do. Where I'm looking now, like I said, is under this low, this sell side liquidity that I marked. I want to see how price reacts down here. Does it spend? How much time does it spend under here Does it immediately invert some of these fair value gaps? This would be a high resistance area for it to trade back through. So I don't think we trade back through it. And yeah, those 15-minute fair value gaps here are now inversions. See this wick that reached down right here? I want to see it trade back up to the midpoint of that. But see, now we're under this sell side liquidity. We spent no time under it, and we're immediately inverting this. So let's see. I mean, maybe we do. Maybe we do. So a silver bullet would be this 1 minute fair value gap, though. Right into that inversion. Still not jumping the gun on anything. I don't want to. Because 10 a.m. could create a reversal of the 9:30 to 10 a.m. range. Right into this inversion now. But see if it left a little fair value gap there. And what's got me hesitant about any long right now, too, is we're inside this daily fair value gap, which should, because it's been bearish, allow price. This was a rebalancing, and then should allow price to continue to deliver lower, especially since we have that opening range gap below. So still a little bit on the side of caution here. You have inversion here. This 15-minute, like I said, is now an inversion. This one is now an inversion. Then you have this inversion, all these inversions that are just kind of like holding it up as resistance now. So I'm not sure what's here. You know, we had this last one under the sell side, and then we inverted it immediately. So it's a little... To me, it's not crystal clear that it's just going to go up. I think it very well could hit this 1 minute fair value gap, have a silver bullet there, and then drop. Don't want y'all to hear me smacking over here. So yeah, right now, for me, hands are off my mouse. No clicky right now. Actually, let's check and see what ES and YM are looking like. Fairly correlated. Yeah, Max. It's. I have a lot of potentials. A lot of potentials of what could happen, but nothing really showing its hand just yet. One thing I want to note right here, this 829, 830 bar, like this is data high and data low. Look at this data low. If you look, mark it out, look over here. It's been holding some kind of resistance there as well, along with everything else. No clicky is awesome advice. Yeah. All right. I do want to see what happens here, though. Let's bring my fib down. Where's 10 right here? I do want to see what happens in this 1 minute fair value gap, because this could be a potential silver bullet here to go short. So this could be a potential short right there. Silver bullet. With all these inversions, everything, I mean, doesn't mean it is. I'm not calling that out as a silver bullet. I don't know for fact, but I think it would be. We have this order block, 1 minute gap there in the premium of this 9:30 to 10 a.m. range. So maybe we'll see. Just because I think we may remain bearish today, but I'm a little neutral. Neutralish bearish. Which results neutralish bearish equals no clicky. I think, therefore I trade. I mean, it's holding up so far. What I'll do is if, I'm not going to take a short off of this right now because I'm still not sure just yet. But if this area holds up and then I see displacement again in a fair value gap short, I'll probably trade that one. So I'll wait for this to hold and then give me another one. That way it's kind of like a confirmation, if that makes sense for me. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to get rid of this lower one here because that's already been traded through quite a few times. Yeah, we have that 15-minute fair value gap. If y'all remember, I kind of hold less weight on the opening bar fair value gaps. Because if it's the opening bar 930 and that creates a fair value gap, those are typically 50-50 for me. because it's sometimes just the opening momentum that'll create it. And I've seen it through my testing that it's a kind of a 50-50 that it'll hold as a continuation or allow price to trade back through it. You can see right now, it's not, the best conditions as far as going, low resistance. And that's what I said when we were down here. I said this area is a high resistance area. It's not likely to just trade right up through it. This is going to be a high resistance area, as you can see. And now this silver bullet looks like it's working out at the moment. If you would have entered it at this one at 423, it's gone down 50 points. I don't look at head and shoulders patterns personally. Nice, Sharif. You took that for a scout. We'll see what happens in this inversion here. But I'm looking for displacement again. We have a little... No, we don't. Never mind. I was going to say, it looked like little volume imbalances there, but it's not. Yeah, it's not. And look where all the bodies are closing. The wicks do the damage and the bodies tell the story. You had your limit order on 429 to go short. So close. The high was 426.50 right here. It's all right. There's plenty of room if this does go down. That I have my deviations marked here, 0.25, 0.5. Then we had the high of that opening range gap from yesterday. The -1 where it's likely to go, which would be that 183.25 level. Look how it lines up perfectly. Like, when things line up perfectly like that, to me, that's not coincidence. Remember that 183.25 level that I mentioned yesterday? And it didn't get there? Well, look at my -1 fib today. It's one tick away. I just realized that. So if we reclaim this fair value gap and displace through with a new fair value gap, I'll likely short. And this would be one where some people would say, well, that's you're in a discount. Well, no, I'm looking at the bigger framework here. But still struggling. Let me go to the 15 seconds, see if anything happened there. Nope. All right, look at the 15-minute right here and check out the wick. This wick we just had. I want to look at the mean threshold of that wick right here and see if price hits that, if it makes it up to that, and if it does, what does it do right there? That's going to be right here, 402.25. If it even gets there. There goes. I hit it. That 402.25. Let's see what it does. Today is Thursday. So Thursday and Friday, we can get later setups, closer to 11. So the 1050 macro might deliver. Let's see. We are rejecting that 402.25 area. See what it does here. There's quite a bit of volatility, but it's not, delivering anywhere. So potential seek and destroy conditions. And that's when you have a lot of wicking taking highs and lows. High resistance liquidity conditions is where it would be doing what it should be doing, just not as easy. Right now, it's not really doing much of anything. So we could be seeing seek and destroy conditions potentially. We'll see. But I mean, it did hit this 1 minute fair value gap that I liked. But it didn't go, didn't run. Yeah, Max, I'm not a big fan of it either. I'm not a big fan of the price action right this second. So no clicky. Hands right here. Man, my eye is really bothering. I think it's my contacts, really. We keep getting this fluctuation of weather as well, which makes my allergies kind of like my eyes, and then with my contacts. Yeah, Erland, I personally would agree with your taking off that limit order up there now. Because if we do see price come back up here, it very well could overshoot. I don't think we continue up, but hey, you never know. Yeah, Chris, I saw that. They're even calling for us to potentially get snow down here Monday through Wednesday at some point. So yeah, you are going to get some more snow up there. Look at this 402.25 level. Again, look at the bodies. Watch the bodies. The bodies tell the story. We're wicking. See if it can hold at all, or if price wants to ignore it. Now, also, that was from the 15-minute chart. So also, I'd be watching this one right here, if you can see it. This wick that we reached up in the midpoint of that, the mean threshold, to see what price does there. Again, look at the bodies. Where's the bodies closing? Even though we wicked all the way up, look where the bodies are closing. So that's something you got to keep your eye on. So now I want to watch and see if this candle is just reaching to go up or if it's going to displace now. Immediate rebalance right there. And then this fair value gap is going to tell me a lot if we do come back down to it. You see it inverted it and then reclaimed it here. Body's still closing underneath that mean threshold of that 15-minute wick. Okay, here's the mean threshold of the 1-minute wick. Let's see, did we hit it? Very close. Is immediate rebalance here. So if this candle drops down below this low, I'd be looking at these two blue bars here as a potential bearish order block to go down. Because how it reached up above these highs here. So if this bar comes down under these lows and closes under these lows, this would potentially be a bearish order block. Did not close underneath it. Yeah, it's not beautiful. And like I said, Thursday and Friday, it's Thursday. So we may see the move come closer to 10:50, 11 o'clock. Yeah. All right. We may have this. And this may. Let's see if this is going to be a breaker here. Okay, this potentially is an order block here. So let's see. I have the low marked right there. The middle of it, here, let me get rid of this 15-minute one. The middle of it's right here, 475. And the reason why this may be, I marked this as a potential breaker, is we have the swing high, swing low, higher high, and then we took the low, which would make this bar the breaker. So we'll see if we get a fair value gap out of that. Here we go, back at this one. See what happens there. And then this potentially order block. So we have a potential order block, and let's get rid of this one now because that's in the way. Potential order block breaker here. It's nothing guaranteed yet. Like, I got to see how price reacts on it. Don't have a fair value gap. Don't have an inversion, really. We still have these, well, where that one inverted back here, where price is not quite delivering. So, all right, let's see the reaction at the open of this candle, the midway point, and this breaker. Let's see what happens there if it comes back up in there. If the next, I might be reading your comment late, Chris. 1:30 a.m. Woo, Mary. Yep, I don't blame you. Have a good night. Oh, I answered it? Okay, cool. Sorry. Wasn't looking at the chat. So, yeah, we need to confirm that this is going to be an order block first, not just think it's an order block. We have to look at reaction of price. And then also, the best ones are you take the size here, 387 to 414, the size of the candles. And if price runs away from it at least about 3 times that size and comes back and has a reaction, or runs away about 3 times, then you can assume like here we haven't ran away from it, so we'd have to see the reaction, right? But if it would have already ran away 3 times this size and then comes back, you can just assume it's an order block. $5 fee for that. Yeah, hit that $5 button, Chris. I'm kidding. I don't have a $5 button. Actually, one time when I was streaming with the sniper system, I remember sitting there and randomly something popped up and said somebody gave me $1. I was like, what? I didn't even know that's possible. All right, so here we go. Pushing up in here, hitting this potential breaker. Cha-ching, yeah. Hitting this potential breaker. Let's see the reaction here. All right, let's see the reaction. Breakers, it could trade anywhere up into the breaker. It doesn't mean it's just getting hit the breaker and go. Although it could, but that's unlikely. See, now we hit the middle of this fair value gap again here, so yeah. Hey, there's a $5 button. I don't even know how you did that, Chris. Sweet. Oh, I see. Now that you did that, it lets me put in a goal here. I guess some streamers have goals of raising money, I guess. Thank you, Chris. Chris donated $5, y'all. Well, look at the reaction off the breaker. Let's see. Still not anything for me to trade off of yet, though. All right, here we go. This is what I want to see. I want to see the reaction between this line and this orange line, because that's where price would validate it as an order block if it holds resistance in this area. And then, of course, you had the midline of the breaker here. Still not anything I'm looking to trade, but it's good to just see the PD arrays and see the reaction and see a potential move. Like, to me, I don't think I would enter this, or I know I wouldn't. Because it's really messy right now, right? Price action is not great, but I want to see this. Could this be the start of a potential move? Like, if this holds up and then we see displacement down, okay, that's the start of a move lower. But yeah. If not, if this just goes all the way up, then hey, it wasn't a validated order block or breaker. All right, here we go. Hitting the midpoint. So let's see what happens here. Which this area lines up with the low of that inversion, 15-minute inversion, which we've been trading like all up and through. And we've been holding the underneath the midpoint of it. So displacement would be where price just has a big move through these lows and leaving a fair value gap. Yeah. But you want to see it be larger than either larger than the bars that we're already seeing or taking the lows with a fair value gap. And an analogy that I heard ICT say one time that I liked is imagine a kiddie pool, you know, the little kiddie swimming pools that it's sitting in the front yard filled with water. And then imagine an elephant walking up and just plopping down into it. The water would literally all displace out of it. So it's like, that's obvious. So yes, something that's obvious, an obvious push. So look at the reaction though. Inside the breaker, this midpoint of the breaker, midpoint of the order block, look at the reaction. Look where the body's closed. This could be, a whale. Yeah, dropping a whale down. This could be the start of the move down. Because we have, this is what I'm looking at. How did price react there first? Because now if this was, let's say, the model I normally look at, where we drew to sell side liquidity, or I had a clear draw to buy side liquidity, and then I had all these PD arrays to go that direction, then that'd be great. Then I would take a breaker order block. But in this scenario today, the framework I currently have is it's looking a little heavy. And I still have reason that we could push lower. So I'm looking at this. It's a different type of entry for me, or different type of trade, because this is going to be more so not within the range. Like, so a lot of my trades are within a range, right? I'd have a clear high, clear sell side liquidity, clear buy side liquidity, and I'm looking to trade in between that range. Today, from what it looks like, I'm going to have, or I would be expecting a bearish move. So it's kind of what I'm looking for. If I get that, if I don't get that, or if like price comes up, then I'm just not going to take a trade. So because I'm looking for this bearish move, this is still not really an entry I would like to take. I just want to see the reaction, and then could this be the start of a potential move down? Because it did. It reacted very well here. Right at the midpoint. So it did validate that this is an order block for me, and this is a breaker block. Because now we're taking this low. I do want to see it take this low with some displacement. Now, because this, I would be considering it a valid order block, these 4 bullish bars up I would look at it as a propulsion block. If you don't know what that is, that's also in month 4 of 2016 core content. And it's basically an order block within an order block, but a propulsion block brings it up into an order block, and then it rockets it out. Rockets it out. If I can say that right. It can't say it. The propulsion thrusts it out. So I would look at it as that, but however, we still don't have that displacement that I'm looking for. So a little fair value gap right here that price traded into. Little volume imbalance, so I would include that. I bet you on the 15-second we have a fair value gap there. Yep. And we just inverted it. So, this is looking like seek and destroy conditions for me. So I'm going to call it. It may go, but it may go later if it does. But for me now, this is just looking too much like seek and destroy conditions. Because if this was going to go, it would have gone there. It should have. And if it keeps seeing how it keeps taking lows and keeps taking highs, that's literally seek and destroy conditions there. So, yeah. I'm out on this. I would be looking at this wick, though. Right here. The midpoint of this wick, which lines up with the midpoint of that breaker. Do we close above that? I'd be looking at that. But, I don't like it. There is still a possibility. Well, I was just about to say, there is still a possibility that we go long and take these areas of smoothness up here. But now it's just so jagged down here. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Yeah. Seek and destroy equals no clicky too. All right, y'all. I'm going to hop off. I went a little over my time anyways. And the reason why is because Thursday and Friday, like I said, could come later. A setup could come later. But I thought I was looking at this breaker order block as a potential move, and I was waiting to see if that happened. Since it didn't happen, nada. Nothing for me. All right, y'all. I'm going to hop off here. I'll be here tomorrow. So I will see you all tomorrow. Trade well, everybody. Take care.